talks about the beauty of the trajectory of light from dawn to dusk, and how, almost like a bridegroom, the planetary movements, at least as they appear from here, tell you a story of how everything is ordered by a law and how everything functions with such meticulous exactitude. But you know what? It was Chesterton who went on to make this comment as well. He said, you can look at a sunrise and be enamored by the sunrise, be in awe of a sunrise, but the sun will never return the compliment to you. What he's trying to say is it's the mind that has the capacity to admire this beauty and admire this wonder. I remember watching an astronomer at the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa years ago while we were speaking, one following the other. And David Block put up a gigantic screen and a slide on that with 100 billion stars in that one shot. 100 billion stars. And as he was lecturing on it, he said, if you were to count those stars one at a time per second, you'd have to be here for 2,500 years. The enormity of this universe. I remember taking a lecture from Professor John Polkinghorne, one of the leading quantum physicists at Queen's College, Cambridge at that time. And as he was lecturing, he was talking about the fine-tuning of the universe and the exactitude demanded in the expansion and contraction ratios. And as he was waxing eloquent, he said the exactitude demanded is so precise and the margin of error given is so small, he said it would be like taking aim at a 1 square-inch object at the other end of the known universe, 20 billion light years away, and hitting it bullseye. The exactitude demanded just in that one force of expansion and contraction had to be so precise and the margins so tiny that it would be like taking aim at a 1 square-inch object at the other end of the known universe and hitting it bullseye. And then in typical English understatement, he went on to say this. He said, gentlemen, there's no free lunch. Somebody has to pay. That's just looking at the universe outside of you. Take a look at the universe inside of you. This marvelous entity we call a human being and the body that God has given to you and me. Sir Frederick Hoyle and Chandra Vikramasinghe, the mathematician from Sri Lanka teaching at Cardiff, talked about the functional proteins necessary for life and how exact they had to be. He said they came up with the figure of this happening in one place by accident as 1 in the chance in 10 to 40,000. And since there are only 10 to the 80th power atoms in the entire universe, they concluded, quote, it is an outrageously small probability that could not be faced even if the whole universe consisted of organic soup. How did these proteins come together at one place? He said it's a mathematical impossibility. And then Hoyle, the astronomer, says this, life could not have originated here on Earth, nor does it look as though biological evolution can be explained from within an earth-bound theory of life. Genes from the outside the earth are needed to drive the evolutionary process. This much can be consolidated by strictly scientific means, by experiment, observation, and calculation. He said an earthbound explanation is impossible for this. Something had to come from outside. So he went to the panspermian theory that somehow sperms were brought in by a spaceship from another planet to seed the earth. And that's how all of this came into being. If they'd read David, they would have saved themselves a lot of dollars on research. The marvel, the wonder, as David talks about creation. I can bring to you just 2 applications from creation, and that is this. It gives you intrinsic worth and a reflective splendor. It gives you intrinsic worth. This worth is not given to you by the state, nor is it given to you by any other law, but it's given to you by God Himself, intrinsic worth and reflective splendor.